Hey, you guys. Time once again for the matinee show.
Yeah.
This week we actually did not go to the theater. However, we saw some ones on Netflix and on Shudder. So we're going to review those instead.
Wasn't feeling all that great this week, man. Maybe I got that corona. I don't know.
You don't have
If I die, you'll know I got that corona.
Oh, for fuck's sake. All right. Yeah, well, I mean, there's like other flus going around too. There's always flus going around, especially this time.
And we go to the theater and then we catch corona.
Whatever.
Right.
So it's like he just never wants to go outside ever.
Never going to go outside again.
I feel like some strains of flu are probably worse than that. You'd probably be better off getting that than some of the other fucking flus that have been going around.
And you catch that shit and then you reinfect. See, I'm getting fucking paranoid now. Everybody's getting paranoid though, I think.
I'm not paranoid.
A lot of our friends are getting paranoid. Let's see what they're saying. Anyway, let's get back to the show.
Like I said, yeah. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about, this is a movie called Polaroid. Now, this is a horror movie. It just dropped on Netflix. This one had kind of like a convoluted backstory. Yeah. Now, this is actually the first full-length film by a Norwegian director named Lars Klevberg. He probably got better known like this past year because he directed the Child's Play remake. However, this was
I liked that Child's Play remake.
I did as well. Yeah. I thought it was going to be horrible, but it was actually like better than I was expecting.
It was good, yeah. It got the tone of the time in a way.
Yeah. So this was his first movie. Now, it was based on a short film he made in 2015, which was also called Polaroid. Paranoid. That's like I was thinking about what you were saying. So this is his feature-length debut. However, even though this movie was made in 2017, it kind of got pushed around on the schedule, and then the production company that held the rights to it went bankrupt, and then it got bought by another studio, and all this other kind of crap. Now, it did actually get a theatrical release in Germany early last year, and also I think in the UK in summer of last year. But as far as I know, I don't think it got a theatrical release here. It just went straight to VOD. And it just recently went to Netflix. Now, the weird thing about it is that because of all these kind of shit going on behind the scenes, I think people were expecting this movie, like, over the past couple of years has sort of built up this almost sort of like mythical, like, what is in this movie that nobody wants us to see or anything like that. But there was no reason. It was just like financial reasons. Like
it's the way I felt about Underwater.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. I'm going to plug that movie again. Man, I can't believe it didn't make any money.
But sometimes it's not, I mean, like I said, sometimes it's not because anyone's like trying to keep it under wraps or anything like that. It's just like I said, they made it, and then the production company went bankrupt, and it got bought out. With it. And it's like they had to keep pushing it around on the schedule because other shit was coming out. But it seems like after Child's Play, the Child's Play remake did pretty good. They thought that, well, we'll go ahead and release this one because this was his first movie. So this is, it's PG-13, but, don't let that really dissuade you. It was written by the same person that wrote Hellfest, who I think his name was Blair Butler.
I actually liked Hellfest.
I
liked Hellfest, yeah.
So the thing about it,
saw that one in the theaters, and it was It was satisfying. It was kind of had an old school throwbacky. It wasn't graphic. That's why a lot of people didn't like it. I think some people wasn't enough blood in it.
Yeah,
but it was good. It was a good fun movie. It was a good movie that
was that one PG-13?
I think it
was.
That R? That would have made a great date movie.
Yeah,
back when I was a teenager.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like. I know there's a thing, and I think people do. I mean, I think there is reason for this. That when a horror movie comes out and it's PG-13, like horror fans kind of roll their eyes, like, "Oh boy, here we go. It's going to be like neutered." Right. And I think that they're, it's understandable that a lot of people think that because that does happen a lot. But in some ways too, it's like, I don't think the movie being a PG-13 necessarily has to mean that it's like not scary or it's not enjoyable or anything like that. It's just a type of thing where maybe it's not as gory as you might like or anything. So, but I feel like this movie, I don't think it suffered for the PG-13 rating because it wasn't a gory premise. Yeah. I mean, the whole premise of this movie is that there's this high school girl named Bird, and she has kind of like a little bit of, they don't go a huge amount into characterization and stuff, but she had kind of a backstory like her with her father dying and stuff, and you kind of like find out more about it later on. But she's kind of into old shit. She works in an antique shop with her friend, and it's like she's not she's not like bullied or anything, but she's not like the most popular kid at school, but she does have like friends and everything because she's like a little bit weird and she likes photography and old things and shit. So it turns out that she comes across this old Polaroid camera in the antique shop where she works, and she's super jazzed about it and starts taking pictures with it, only to find out that everyone she takes a picture of with this camera ends up dying in a horrible way.
There's not a lot of gore in it, but that doesn't mean that it's not graphic. A bunch of cool shit happens in it, and they're able to kind of circumvent it. There isn't a lot of blood.
Yeah, no.
But a lot of people burn up or get crushed up and crumpled up. They skirt that.
Yeah, they are pretty successful at skirting it.
I didn't know it was PG-13.
I didn't either until later.
I thought it was kind of R-rated, but so I think they did a good job.
Yeah. You can get away with quite a bit with a PG-13 rating, but with your real graphic gore, you know, if you have like excessive nudity or excessive swearing or something like that, they usually end up giving it an R. But like I said, you can get away with quite a bit of violence and stuff in a PG-13. So people do end up dying in this, but, you know, I think this isn't like a super original premise. It reminded me a little bit of, I think it was like was it a Japanese or a Thai movie that was called Shutter? That was sort of, kind of about a haunted camera, kind of. So it's sort of about...
There's a video game called Fatal Frame. That's pretty good, but it's not like that. Maybe it is kind of like that. No, it isn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking Shutter was like not exactly the same, but it was like the same kind of thing where you take a picture with this cursed camera, and then all of a sudden there's like this shadow in the background that wasn't there, and Bird pretty quickly figures out what's going on
and coming to get you.
Is trying to figure out like what the fuck is happening, because she sees like the shadow moving from picture to picture, like, because I guess if you take a picture of one person and then the demon or whatever it is like doesn't kill you, and then you take a picture of another person, then the demon moves to that one, so it like moves it up on the list. Like you're eventually going to get fucked, but the order that you get fucked in has to do with like how she takes the pictures.
Critiquing movies is always a thing of taste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I liked the movie.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things about it that weren't to my taste.
Yeah, same.
Like you said, you brought it up earlier, it kind of had a convoluted story.
It did a bit,
I like horror movies to be kind of simple, easy to follow, to where there's kind of like a linear progression.
Right.
This one actually kind of starts getting into flashbacks to explain
why the camera's
haunted. I'd rather like that. I'd rather like to be told how the camera got haunted first, and then what the camera does.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the child in me. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I don't expect much from horror movies. I don't want to try to figure shit out. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even really want to wonder. Just tell me a story. You know what I mean?
Well,
let's see what unfold. Because the ones we grew up on, you know, like fucking Reanimator and From Beyond, they're very linear. There's hardly ever any kind of flashback.
Well, yeah, I guess, but it's like, the thing about it though is that I think the reason that why a lot of horror movies are structured in the way this one is structured is because you don't necessarily want like to front load your movie with this is what's going to happen like throughout the course of the movie. You want there to be like a mystery or
there has
like
to be
suspense
some surprises
or something like that. So it's like somebody finds this camera, is like, hey, neat, and then suddenly all their friends start dying and they're like, hey, there's this weird smudge in here that looks like a person.
Right.
And so they're trying to like figure it out, and then later on they kind of clue you in. So you can see why they structure it.
You can see why they did it that
in
way.
A non-linear, because otherwise, like I said, they'd be telling you, hey, the camera's cursed because of this, and then the rest of the movie would just be it doing that. And
like I said,
okay.
It's always a matter of taste.
Yeah.
When you're talking about this.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of like shit. I kind of like shit to be, like you said, front loaded and tell me this is what's going to happen. That way I don't check.
This is what's going to happen, and then that happens.
that way I don't check out of the movie in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm just not fucking patient.
He has ADD or something.
It's not ADD. It's just I'm very used to being disappointed by movies. I'm 50 years old. I've basically seen everything. You know what I mean? So if it hasn't really kind of hooked me in that first 10 minutes and kept me riveted, it's not going to mostly. And then when the movie's over, I wasted my time. That's how I fucking see it.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of these movies, they're fucking tailored to teenagers and people in their 20s. I think it's a little easier to impress them. They're more impressionable.
I don't know about that, though, because I feel like if younger people nowadays
maybe they're even more ADD.
Well, not just ADD, but they're a lot more cynical. They've seen everything.
Yeah, I know they're having a hard time selling anything to them. They don't like anything.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That is exactly, they don't like anything.
They like video games. Movies can't compete with video games.
Well, yeah, and you can see why that is because it's interactive.
The future is not movies. The future is
But like I said, I'm a creative person. I'm a writer and stuff like that. So I'm interested in other people's stories and like how they put them across and stuff. So like I said, I'm not going to say like if I see a movie and I think it sucks, I'm going to say that. But it's like I'm willing to give like a lot of leeway for a person's, if they had reasons for doing what they did. And even though this isn't a super original premise, like I said, it's got like your standard teen horror movie stuff, like, jump scares and like people creeping down like darkened corridors and whatnot. But this was actually better than I was expecting. I actually did really like the premise of it. I liked like the creepiness of like the demon like showing up and then like moving from picture to picture. I like that there was something of like almost like a weird like voodoo aspect where it's like if you do something to the picture, like it happens to the real person. Yeah. Like I liked that they brought that in. I liked the way that they gave the backstory, and then they gave you some like uncertainty about the backstory because people gave two differing backstories and you weren't really sure for a little while like which one was the truth. Also, they got fucking Grace Zabriskie to do a cameo in this. I know her from, she's been in like a bunch of David Lynch movies. She was in Inland Empire. She was in a bunch of other ones. So I thought that was super cool that she was in this. Yeah. Now I will say that the scene that she was in where she's essentially telling one of the backstories, like I said, you don't know which one is true. The way that they did that was slightly cheesy, but I found that I didn't really mind it. Yeah. One thing I would have liked, more character development a little bit. I think Bird was a good character. She was like the main character and you kind of got a vibe for her and stuff. But all her friends were like a little bit interchangeable. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was one that was like the kind of bitchy girl, and then there was like, her lesbian best friend that was like having problems with her mom, but everything was just kind of like, just one or two sentences or like, so it would have been nicer to kind of have them have a little bit more character, so like when some bad shit was happening to them or when they were threatened, you would feel like more invested in it and you'd be like more upset about it. But that said, I think this is a perfectly fine, mid-tier horror movie. Yeah,
that's what I would say.
With with younger characters, like kind of a cool premise. Like I said, it's not super gory. It's more like a supernatural, demonic, ghosty type of thing. So, if you like that kind of stuff.
I'm going to say it's not a great movie.
No.
It's not a bad movie. No. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I think if I was in my 20s, I probably would have liked it better.
Yeah. Well, like all the characters are pretty young.
Right. Now, whether you're 20 right now, today, I don't know. Your cynical ass may not like this shit. But I thought it was okay. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It seems to be getting like mixed reviews. Like I think I looked on Rotten Tomatoes and it had like 35% or something like that, with a lot of people just saying, the same stuff basically we're saying. It's fine.
It's an old movie. It was made what, in 2017? Yeah, it's 17.
It just got bumped around.
Then it was in an upward curve. He's in an upward trend because I liked the Child's Play better, and I liked the because it's the same director, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was so he got better after this.
Yeah, that was his second feature length. This was his first feature length.
This one's pretty good.
Based on a short.
I think Child's Play was better. The other one, I liked that other one better. What was it? Hellfest.
That was the same writer.
Same writer. I liked Hellfest better than this.
I think I liked this one slightly more than Hellfest.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard to pick because they're very different.
Hellfest was more cheerful in a way.
Hellfest was more like an old school slasher
with teenagers.
Not bloody.
Yeah, not bloody.
This one is more like an early 2000s Asian horror movie. It has more of that type of vibe to it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So like I said, it's hard to compare because they're two different genres, really. I mean, as far as I'm concerned.
So on the back of that, it's a good director.
Yeah, and like I said, he definitely seems like one to watch, particularly if he makes more horror movies, which I hope he does. But yeah, it's on Netflix, at least in the United States. So, if you got a couple hours to kill and you want to check it out, then check it out. It's pretty good. So our second movie this week was also on Netflix, and this is actually a documentary. And when I was scrolling through, I had to watch this shit, because this is Cats, the movie.
Yeah.
Not Cats,
Not the musical.
The musical.
Not that thing. We didn't even bother.
That abomination. It was just like, I saw the stills from that, and I'm just like,
what?
No thank you.
Like some off of fucking Dr. Seuss.
That looks a little too... And I like weird movies, but I was like, that looks like weird in a bad way.
Cats doesn't have a story. It's not about anything.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of singing.
Which is fine. Like if you like that in the musical and stuff, and I've
been in many musicals when I was a fucking kid. Let me tell you something. Certain shit works in a musical and works on stage. It would never work on film. That wouldn't work in a
movie. Yeah, it's a different medium.
A live performance, people unmiked singing out to the audience, it's a very different experience than seeing that shit.
Well, clearly because
you don't
look how popular Cats the live show was, as opposed to how popular Cats the movie version of it was. Yeah. But anyway, we're not talking about
this. This is a good little documentary if you like fucking Instagram cats and fucking the grumpy cat and all the baby Cookie.
They didn't even it's
baby
like
Cookie.
That's
we know
what I
who
mean.
Baby
It's
Cookie
like
is.
I love cats, so it's like anything on Netflix that comes up that's about kitty cats, I'm into it. Although I will say that it's like one YouTube channel. It was a YouTube channel, right? That you introduced me that Korean.
Yeah, Critter Club.
Critter Club. And it's like where they go around like rescuing animals and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I was traumatic.
I really got into it for a while, but it's like I had to stop watching. It was just too sad. And most of the animals that they rescued were okay.
Yeah.
But it's like
they were not limbs though.
They were not okay enough.
Some of them die.
They do.
Remember the starving dogs that were trapped up on top of the roof because the assholes left them locked in there?
And it's like, so after a while, I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
It's a good channel, though. It
is, but it was bumming me out.
It's called Critter Club, spelled with 2 Ks.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah,
it's
on Korean,
YouTube.
Right?
It's Korean with subtitles.
It's like a show.
And Koreans, man, I lived in Korea for a year. Koreans know how to fucking tear jerk your ass. They're an emotional fucking people. They're not like Chinese people. They're not like Japanese people. They're fucking hot blooded, and they're very emotional, and if you make them mad, they come at you. They even show that.
Yeah.
Remember how that woman went after that other woman for starving her dog?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like so for a couple nights we were like watching a whole bunch of them, and I was just like, I can't. This is just breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart.
Right.
And it's funny because I was thinking about that when we went to Independent Bar last weekend. Lee, who's like the bar manager, he told us, he's like, we found 4 kittens up in the ceiling, like when they were like doing renovations or whatever, and he's got them like taking care. And he's not a cat person. He has a dog.
He's warming up to him.
He is though. It's like he showed me pictures. They were super cute. But yeah, so of course anything that comes up on Netflix that has anything whatsoever to do with cats, I'm gonna watch that shit because I love cats. More than life itself, probably. So this is basically.
I'm not kitty centric.
You're not kitty centric.
I like all animals.
I do too. I do too.
I'm big into those damn red pandas. You seen this?
Well, yeah, they rule.
Yeah, and then man, they do some fucking funny shit.
They do, yeah.
I like raccoons, and she had a raccoon. I never was able to have a raccoon.
No, I had a squirrel.
A squirrel, that's what it was.
I had a squirrel.
I'd like to have a squirrel too.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, who was there? I knew somebody one of my dad's friends had a raccoon.
We had some
raccoon's name was Splash. Yeah,
Splash.
But he saw it fall out of a fucking tree. It was a little baby and go into the water when he was fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was up in a tree. I guess the mama took it up to a tree. He couldn't get it back. He took it home, raised it, Splash. Yeah.
That's how we got our squirrel. He fell out of a nest in a palm tree.
Okay.
And he was just like, he didn't have his eyes open yet. We had him for a long time. Kind of a spaz. He lived in the house for a while until he just got too frantic, and he just kept running all over.
And they can become a wild squirrel after that, can't they?
Yeah, although he died.
He died. That's right. He got something wrapped around his foot, didn't he?
Yeah, and it got infected.
Right.
But yeah, so I love all animals too, except cockroaches.
Cockroaches. I don't like spiders.
Well, I don't see. I like spiders.
Okay, no,
but
I'm not
especially those little cute like ones with the little.
I really don't like bugs.
The little pedipalps and stuff like that.
I don't like bugs. No.
But yeah, cockroaches.
Well, the little jumping spiders. Yeah, I don't mind those. I'm talking about those fucking nasty spiders, man.
Okay, so
I don't want to talk about spiders.
But yeah, I mean, but I've always loved cats. I've always had cats growing up. So it's like, so this documentary is basically, it's kind of exploring the relationship between cats and the internet and why cat videos became such a thing, like in the early days of the internet. Now, I will say that one thing, I wish that it had kind of delved a little deeper into that. Like the first, 10, 15 minutes of the documentary, they kind of give like sort of a brief history of, the early days of the internet and like how for whatever reason, like cat memes became a thing. And they talk a little bit about like Icon has cheeseburger and even like going back farther than that, like the little text cats, that people used to do like with the code and whatnot. And it's like, and that's kind of cool. But then pretty quickly it jumps into, the bulk of the documentary, which seems to be, I've seen some reviews like kind of criticize this for being essentially a commercial for Instagram, which I guess it kind of is because, I mean, the main part of the documentary is focusing on the two people that run Cats of Instagram and also like several people, like the guy who owned Lil Bub and, some other people that have like cats that are sort of like Instagram stars. And so it's like interviewing them and like talking about, what they do with their cats and how they get all these likes and stuff like that. So it's almost kind of like I was making jokes to baby Cookie while I was watching this. It's like, hey, Cookie, you want to be a star?
a lot of money to be made taking pictures of damn cats. It's so ridiculous.
It is, but there's ridiculous. So many people doing it now that it's like you probably would have had to get into it like at the beginning. And it's like they even talked to this woman, and I guess it didn't really occur to me before I watched this, but like once I saw it, I was kind of like, oh, of course. So now there's like a whole, and then maybe there's more than one, but now there's like a whole, basically a whole fucking advertising agency, and that's all they do is manage people whose pets are like Instagram stars.
Right.
Like now they need it because that it's like a huge, because there's not only the thing where you have like all these followers and like you get, but you also get like fucking, corporate sponsorship and stuff like that. Like a lot of pet food companies will like want to hire your cat and all this other kind of stuff. So they have their own like fucking advertising agencies now. So it kind of went into that a lot. And I found that really interesting. Although, like I said, I can see how some people would feel like, oh, this just seems like an Instagram commercial, for these specific people that they interviewed. Like I said, it's the guy that owned Little Bub, who actually seemed like a really cool dude because, I mean, his little cat, Little Bub, everybody knows who Little Bub is. He didn't really seem to start out with, the intention of making him like internet famous, making the cat internet famous. Just kind of happened because the kitty was so, kind of funny looking and like he was really cute and everything. So, and he actually, that guy that owned Little Bub, he actually like set up, I think he set up like a cat rescue foundation, like with the money and stuff like that. So I do feel like his heart was in the right place. Some of the people that came along later, I'm not really sure if their intentions are entirely pure, especially the one couple that were like dressing up the cat. And it's like, I'm not really sure. The cat seemed pretty chill.
Come on, Bub.
No, this other cat that was, I can't remember which cat it was, but they were putting in all these like crazy costumes and stuff.
Well, people do that to their kids.
True, but it's like, I don't know. Some cats like it or probably don't mind it, but I feel like a lot of cats wouldn't like that.
Cookie would probably think that was a game.
Maybe, because I've considered getting little outfits for Cookie.
She likes to put the collar on and off.
Although it took her a while to get used to that.
Took her a couple times. Well, she understood it eventually that when she went outside,
if she goes outside, she has to have
a collar on. So
because it's reflective, and we want people to know.
Yeah, she's asking to go out. I don't want her to look like a damn stray cat, so you got to put the collar on.
Yeah.
And then I'll show her the collar, and she'll ask to go out, and I'll show her the collar, and she'll come and go. Okay,
and she'll come and put her neck down
put it
like
on.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first couple, I bought like this pack of, because I knew that she wasn't going to be happy about it. So I bought like a pack of 6 collars. She took off the first one like almost immediately.
I never found that one.
And we never found it.
I found a second one though.
The second one we found like in the backyard.
Oh, no, it was pink, so it was the first one.
Yeah, the second one we didn't find.
Yeah, I think that was light blue. Never found it.
Yeah, never found that one.
Light blue with reflective stripe on it. I just found it sitting out in the field where she pulled it off.
Yeah. She puts her little paw and she's just like, doink.
Because it's got an emergency release on it.
Yeah, so it doesn't like get snagged on anything. Right. But it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, yes, it's adorable like when you put outfits on cats. And like I said, I would love to have, I wanted to get like a little Halloween costume for Cookie.
Oh, wait, but hold on though. We're going off on the cat.
No, I'm just saying. No, I was talking about. No, I was talking about the couple that was in this that like dressed their cat up, and I was like, I'm always kind of like conflicted about that because I feel like I said, maybe your cat's different, but it's like I do kind of feel like most cats don't like being dressed up like that. And also, there's this one girl on there who had a big super fat cat, and that was kind of his claim to fame was like being super fat, and the cat was on a diet, but they kind of went into a little bit. She's like, well, he's like famous for being fat, big, huge, and fat. So it's like if he loses weight, she's gonna like lose all these followers and stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of a fucked up thing to be thinking about. But yeah, so if you like cats, this was like a fun, just fluffy throwaway kind of documentary. Like I said, I would have liked it better if they'd gone more into the history of cats and that like why cats became like the unofficial like internet sponsors or whatever the hell. I'll tell you why. Is because why cats and not dogs?
Because it goes back thousands of years. People kept these cats because they were cute. And they raised them so they were cute. There are even old paintings, of people with their cats. So it always sold.
Yeah.
Always. It's part of human nature.
But it's weird that
now that you have the internet, this is just an internet version of what they were always been doing.
But what I mean was that it's weird that it was cats and not dogs, because it does seem like there are more dog owners and more people are dog people. I think because the cats are smaller. Maybe.
And they can calmly sit there and maybe take a photo. You could probably do it with a little dog too, but
yeah, people do it with their dogs.
And I've seen medieval paintings of maybe not quite medieval, maybe Renaissance paintings of little girls dressed up with ferrets and ermines.
Yeah.
That they played with those too. Ermines
I've heard
and cats.
ferrets make really good pets.
Yeah, I had one when I was a little kid. They just don't stand still. They're little clowns.
They are, yeah. I knew a guy that had, him and his girlfriend had a couple of them.
Yeah, problem is those, if they get out, they never come back. Yeah. They don't have any kind of homing instincts.
Yeah,
they'll just keep going in a straight. Bye. Yeah, just keep going in a straight line. Yeah, I love you. Bye. They never come back up. There's no.
I'm gonna go find a better house.
They don't really have a sense of home. I don't think. Yeah, they just keep running.
I guess because they're not really.
They weren't really bred for that.
Domesticated in the same way that cats and dogs.
Yeah, it's just a little hunting animal to get rabbits out of holes, and they are a domestic animal. They're not wild.
Yeah,
and they've been around for probably thousands of years. Yeah. Although, actually, I think it's an American continent animal. But they took them back to Europe. This is, probably back in 1500s, 1600s, maybe a little bit later. But they are the ones that you have now are domesticated.
Yeah.
The black-footed ferret's wild.
Yeah.
That lived out in the West. That hunted like prairie dogs and groundhogs. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Back when a time when prairie dog mound would be the size of like fucking 4 states.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? I know, that was true.
Yeah.
But they converted it all to cattle. Farmland,
right?
And the cows were stepping in the
holes,
and breaking their legs off. So they wiped the prairie dogs not out, but they beat them back down into controllable sizes.
Yeah,
because it's their burrows. Literally, they said it covered whole states.
I believe it.
Just an interlocking damn burrow of fucking.
It's like a little
prairie
metropolis.
Dogs. Yeah.
Prairie dog metropolis.
Prairie dogs they breed like mice, literally. Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, it's a very surface level documentary, but if you, are really into like cats of Instagram and are into like, the individual cats and like seeing like their owners and what they go through, like trying to get followers and all that kind of stuff. It's a perfectly fun little documentary. I had a good time with it. I tried to get baby Cookie to watch it, but she wouldn't. Yeah, she doesn't care. She knows the difference between real life and TV. It's hard to get her interested in.
She'll watch a screen, but she doesn't hold her attention.
Yeah, she kind of looks at the screen. And if we're watching a horror movie and somebody starts screaming or something like that, she starts getting upset.
Yeah. She'll look at us like, what's all that screaming?
Like, is everything all right?
It's all right. And she's like, she knows what scary music is. And it's not just our imagination, because I've seen videotapes of fucking bulldogs losing their fucking mind. at fucking at like Jason on Friday the 13th, and the damn dog from The Thing, where it turned into the monster. The fucking
that video,
the bulldogs were losing their fucking mind. They knew
my God,
trying to damn attack the screen and shit, and he's barking and calling for help.
Help him!
And then, Jason or Michael Myers sneaking up on somebody, and the dog's trying to warn the people. Whoa! He's coming.
Yeah,
so they do know what images on screens
maybe
are.
Cookie doesn't do that, but she does kind of if something bad is happening, she will turn around and look and look upset and stuff. It's
big eyes,
is everything okay? And
wow, what's happening?
And so we tease her. We're just don't watch that, Cookie. It's too scary. It's too scary. Don't watch that. But
what movie was that where she looked back and was going what the fuck is that?
I don't even remember.
One of those. There was a woman, she was screaming or something, getting attacked by something, and
maybe it was
she
Texas Chainsaw
Massacre. Yeah, it might have been something along that. And she looked at us like this.
She's like, "This is not good.
It's dangerous." Yeah,
and even a couple times when we were up on the bed watching a movie and Pookie was sitting in the middle, Tom put his hands over her eyes, don't look at that. When it was really gory.
Yeah.
But so this is on Netflix right now. I mean, the title is kind of dumb, Cats the Movie, and they even did it hashtag Cats _ the _movie. So you know what I mean. Yeah. So so if you want to search for it under that, so you don't get the shit about the Cats musical, because no one needs to see that one. But this is actually pretty good. Okay, if you're into cats. So the third movie we saw this week just dropped on Shudder. This is Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell.
Yeah. Not bad, but not great either.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, this one just, they actually did a couple night event for this. Remember Fathom Events was having it? And we just didn't get around to seeing it in the theaters, so we're just kind of waiting for it to come out. The thing about Rob Zombie's movies, I really liked House of a Thousand Corpses, which I saw in the theater back in the day. I think it came out in 2003. I really liked Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, strong movie.
We just actually watched that again, just a couple weeks ago, and I just liked it just as much. Some of his other movies, I really hated his Halloween remake a lot.
It didn't seem to be very popular. I never saw it.
I didn't like that it demystified Michael Myers. I think that was a big mistake. There was just a lot of shit about it I didn't like. I saw that in the theater, but I just remember not really liking it. Now, it seems like some of his more recent movies, like Lords of Salem, it seems like a lot of people kind of liked that one. I haven't seen it yet. 31, everyone seemed to hate, and thought it was a mess. So I've been looking forward to seeing this one, because I like, these movies, in the Firefly trilogy, as they call it. And I have to say, there's something about this one. Man, I can't put my finger on it. The Devil's Rejects, great movie. This one, I just feel all of Rob Zombie's movies, they have a little bit of an aspect of try hard to them. And I feel this was that writ large, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I'm saying?
I kind of know what you're talking about. That's not how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. I
see the main problem with this movie, the thing that causes this not to be really an excellent movie, all right, was the fact that it's 20 years later. Yeah. It was too damn late.
It was, because the first two were only 2 years apart,
yeah,
I think.
And you can tell, of course, Sid Haig is not feeling well, and he's only in one or two scenes in the very beginning.
Yeah, he's only in the first 5 minutes
His
of the movie.
His performance isn't all that great. You can tell this dude's sick. He looks fucking fantastic. He looks scary as fuck, because he's just skinny as shit, and his fucking beard, he looks fucking weird, all right? Which plays well. But his performance isn't that good. I could tell that his energy level's pretty low. Yeah. I could tell that he's
Which is why he ended up not being in the movie.
Yeah, I can tell that he's not feeling well.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long, I think the energy level of all the performers is not quite the same. I mean, the main guy's close to 70 now.
Yeah.
It's hard to sell this story with those characters now. I mean, they've aged.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. What's her name? Sherry?
Yeah, Sherry.
Sherry looks great. She is fucking pretty as hell. Pretty as she was even 20 years ago.
And she was 49 when this was made, I think.
Yeah, about my age.
Yeah. So it's a couple years older than I am.
Yeah, and she looks great. But there's some kind of a youthful exuberance to the cast 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They're doing a movie that's very experimental and very edgy, so I think it's easier for them as performers to sell this. I think that's where the problem is. And it kind of gotten out of the hang of these characters probably, too. The story isn't quite as good.
It's not... It doesn't have a real compelling... Now, I was watching some other reviews of this.
The edit and the compelling... The edit and the it's not... Those other two movies just rolled forward like a damn steamroller.
Right.
You followed the whole thing. This one... No, it slows down in certain areas. It's uneven. It's kind of choppy. And then they end up in Mexico, and it's kind of weird there. And it's not... There's a bunch of unbelievable shit happens in it, you know what I mean? But just the way the story comes across, it just kind of comes across as like it was kind of just thrown together.
And I've seen other reviews that said it felt like 2 or 3 different movies.
Yeah.
That were kind of like... Because when we first started watching it... When they were doing the kind of like documentary style type of thing where they were talking about... I mean, here's the thing. Now, at the end of The Devil's Rejects, the very iconic scene where Otis and Captain Spaulding and Baby are in the car, Freebird is blaring, and they're basically just like pumped full of bullets.
Yeah.
So that kind of would have been a good ending.
Yeah.
However, since this movie came out, it's like they had to like... backpedal and say, oh, well, how did they each got shot like 20 times,
but
and
they
all survived, which seems a little unlikely right from out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, the other 2 movies, you could kind of believe that maybe this was a story that actually happened in the real world.
Yeah.
Even though it was stylish. This is pure fantasy. None of this could have happened.
Pretty much.
It's very, very, very... I mean, they get attacked by a gang of damn Mexican gangsters,
like
and they're all wearing luchador masks, and then
I like that part.
All the guns that they have are not period correct. Those are all guns.
Yeah, it's supposed to be set in '88.
Yeah, those are all AR-15s from this year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They've got fucking Magpul fucking furniture on them and shit. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like
guys that know what it is you're seeing. You know what you're seeing. So this is becoming a cartoon. Or a comic book movie.
It's always been kind of
which
like
is okay.
I mean, the characters, these 3 characters have always been sort of like cartoons. You can tell, Rob Zombie is super into like Grindhouse type movies and like old like exploitation movies. And I'm not like...
And it has that in it.
He has those chops. Like he really
right.
does know all these movies. There's a lot of homages in this to like other movies, like Fight for Your Life and things like that, which that's cool. And there's a lot of like really funny like cameos, like fucking, I think that was Clint Howard playing like Baggy Britches, the clown or whatever he was, and shit like that. So there's like a lot of funny, and I like the new character because Sid Haig was so ill, and couldn't be in the movie for more than a few minutes. I mean, his character is pretty much like killed off like in the gas chamber or whatever, like very, very early in the movie. And then they needed a third person, so they have like another character who's, I think he's Otis's half brother or cousin or something like that, named Foxy. And I like that character, and I kind of liked the interactions between him and Otis. But I don't know, there's just something about this one. I couldn't like catch the wave of it, man. Yeah. It's just like I said, I liked like when it first started and they had that documentary thing going where they were talking about, the 3 from hell and they're in prison, and, it was kind of going through all their court shit, and they did a little bit of a Manson family thing where they were like, they'd become like these anti-heroes and stuff. Like I liked the way they were going with that. But then it kind of goes into, well, Baby in prison, and then, like, Dee Wallace, who's playing, like, the prison matron, although I didn't recognize her for a second, because she had glasses and she's all, like, uglied up and stuff.
Yeah, cute woman, man, especially back in the day.
Yeah, because I was like, hey, that's
when
Dee
she
Wallace,
was on, what was the name of that one? Like, Frighteners?
Frighteners, yeah.
Yeah, I was in my 20s, and she was, like, probably in her 40s, and that was, like, the first time I fucking, like, recognized the
felt like
the cuteness of an older woman. Like,
an old broad
God,
she's
cute,
looking.
Yeah. She's wearing that little fucking mini dress and shit, running around with a shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, she's been in shit tons of like horror movies. So like, man, good for Dee Wallace.
She's fucking cute.
So she was in this. Although, like I said, I didn't recognize her until like a few minutes like into the movie. So for a long time, it's like you have Otis and Foxy like running around on the outside, and they like take the prison guy from where Baby is being held in prison, like takes their family hostage to get Baby released. And it's like, then Baby is like, I guess she's been in prison for 10 years and she's like gone crazier than she was before. And that was played a little too over the top for me. I mean, and I know that's stupid to say for a Rob Zombie movie because it's all over the top, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a little too much. Just a little too much. You know what I mean?
Well, what I really... how am I put this? For me, the first two movies were kind of plausible. That's kind of what made them fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe something like
especially Devil's Rejects. That seemed
maybe
really...
something like Dr. Satan could exist, man. That'd fucking freaky.
Yeah.
If you saw a dude like that, you know what I mean? All that, what if he did fucking take a dude, fucking cut him up, turn him into a damn fucking, fucking merman? That's some weird shit. You saw that.
Why didn't they put Dr. Satan in the other movies? That's
what ended up happening, because I guess he got killed or found by the cops. I don't know. They didn't even mention him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That seemed like a cool character.
I don't remember. Maybe something happened to him and I'm forgetting about it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen House of the
Thousand Corpses. But because it was kind of plausible, it made the fucking terror of the victims and like the suffering of the victims more realistic.
Yeah.
Because this one, you go like, whoa, I'd be kind of disturbed by some of that shit. What they were doing to the fucking people in the damn hotel room,
that really bothered me. Like, that really bothered me.
But this one, it's so kind of a comic book movie kind of thing. You don't care about anybody that gets killed.
It's just it doesn't have the same impact.
No, it didn't have the same impact.
The Devil's Rejects was like, it's kind of weird because like his movies are very like almost like nihilistic because it's like they're not heroes. It's like you're not supposed to like them and like they do this fucked up shit. But then in a way, it's almost kind of like this one is trying to make you sympathize with them a little bit. I don't know if that was his intention. Yeah. And it just came off as...
To me, it came off as a cash grab.
It did. And it came off as kind of like tired. Yeah. It had some good shit in it. And I liked, some of the cinematography. I liked some of the cameos. I liked some of the stuff. But it just felt... Like you said, it felt like they left it too long. Like everyone was kind of old. Everyone seemed worn out. Yeah. It's like Sid Haig is not in it. And I've just, other than the first couple minutes. And
he made that movie.
That's what I mean. And
he partly made it.
Him not being in this, you can really see how...
He's in it, but he's not in it for very long.
Yeah, it's just the beginning.
And you can tell he's not feeling good.
Yeah. So it's like you can tell how integral he was to the success of the first two movies.
If they were going to make a third part, they should have done this like
a long
3
time
years
ago.
later after Devil's Rejects. Yeah. It would have fucking been popping. Because it was so long, I wouldn't have made this movie. So it kind of comes off as...
he's made other ones.
He's got other movies he could have made. I wouldn't have made this movie. It comes off as a cash grab.
It does.
Because marketing-wise, this is how you make some money. But story-wise, this isn't what you do.
Yeah.
What you do is you do a tangential story in that same universe.
You could do that, sure.
Or maybe some kind of a flashback of who Dr. Satan was. How that shit went down.
Yeah, why don't they make a Dr. Satan?
Yeah, I would have gone...
I'd be on board with that.
I would have done something in that same universe with that same tone as Devil's Reject, but done it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Related to that story.
I almost feel like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I almost feel like what ended up happening was that maybe Rob Zombie's last movie, 31, and like I said, I can't, speak to what it's like because I haven't seen it. It's on Shudder. We should probably watch it one of these days. But it really did not get a very good reception. So I almost feel like Rob Zombie is kind of like, okay, well, everybody just seems to want me to go back to... the Firefly family because everybody liked those two movies so much. Yeah. So it almost seemed like, okay, well, is this what you want? I'm going to revisit it. Right. When really there was no reason to. I mean, the end of the Devil's Rejects, that fucking shootout where they all got blasted full of bullets, that seemed like a pretty definitive ending and a good way to end it, like kind of going out in a blaze of glory type of thing. But so I just feel like this movie... It's not a bad movie. It just seems like it wasn't super necessary, and I didn't really get... It seemed kind of disjointed, and I couldn't really get into it. I couldn't get into the movie's headspace. I couldn't, you know what I mean? I found it a little bit boring, to be honest with you, a little bit.
I want to like the movie.
I did too. I was excited about it.
I want to know if it stands up to multiple viewings. Maybe it gets better on other viewings. I mean,
yeah, and
sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Devil's Rejects, and the first time I saw it, I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
You know?
And same with House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Like I said, I saw that in the theater, and I loved it.
Yeah, and that was like, it made you feel bad. You're like, whoa, whoa, let me see that again. You know what I mean? It was that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I think going back to that same family approach and from this angle with those same characters was not the best way to do it, story-wise. Maybe this is how you make money.
Yeah, probably.
But,
well, this did make a lot of money. Like I said, that's why they ended up doing it in the theater.
Man, okay, then we got another free movie from that family. What I would do is make a fourth movie and go back, tell us about Dr. Satan.
Yeah, like I said, make a Dr. Satan.
That would be better.
Because that seemed like such a cool concept for the first movie. And then they didn't really go into it. Like he kind of forgot about it in the second movie. Yeah, let's like,
go
what
back.
What happened with that?
Yeah, let's go back to how he became that, and when these people were young and shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way I had to do it. Yeah. That's a movie right there.
Yeah.
Because there's probably some untold shit. You get somebody to play Sid's character when he was young.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, like I said, this wasn't a bad movie. It's like, I watched it and it was, but, the acting was fine. Like, I like all the characters and stuff like that, but it just seemed a little bit like a rehash. I mean, because them keeping all the people hostage, like, in the room, it was just kind of like Devil's Rejects, and it's like, so it was kind of like hitting the same beats again. And like I said, Sid Haig not being in it was kind of like a big downer, even though it's, nothing wrong with Foxy's character, who was played by...
She did a great job. Yeah,
no, the guy, other guy that was in it.
Yeah, that's right. What was his name?
Richard, Brake.
Yeah.
Richard Brake is that actor's name?
Yeah, he was in...
He was in a lot of stuff. He was just in the rhythm section, which we saw the other day. He was the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, and I loved his work.
I think he was wasn't he in Game of Thrones? I want to say
he was in Hannibal Rising. I loved his work in Hannibal Rising. He was one of the bad guys. I think he was, wasn't he? He was the one that got choked by the tree.
He's been in
a horse on a tree.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of shit.
He's a good dude. Here's the thing, man. This is not a bad movie.
It's not.
It's just that
they don't all hang. It's all the aspects of it. Just
Devil's Rejects is a hard act to follow.
It is, yeah.
Especially after so much time has passed.
Yeah.
With those original actors. You know what I mean? We got another movie. You can look at it that way. Got another movie, you know what I mean? Maybe it's going to have a mixed reaction, but it was what a lot of people wanted.
Yeah.
Artistically, man, I'd go back and tell us about Dr. Satan. I'd be doing prequels.
And like I said, it's...
With an all fresh new cast that's fucking young enough to play all those, you know what I mean? Like what they were like in their 20s or teens. And how all that shit happened with the main character of fucking Dr. Satan.
Yeah.
And he'd probably been in his 30s or something.
Yeah.
At that time,
And I mean,
that might be some weird shit, man. There's all kinds of stories you could tell.
Oh, yeah. And, I'd be perfectly willing to give this another go. You know what I mean? And especially maybe after I've watched, 31 and Lords of Satan and stuff, because I have, Lords of Salem.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen those two.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure 31 is on Shudder. Maybe Lords of Salem is, actually, I think Lords of Salem might be on Tubi now that I'm thinking about it. But, this is just kind of one that maybe I'll give it a second look.
I wouldn't call Rob Zombie's shit try hardy, though. I would kind of put it in the same, kind of like in the same genre as Tarantino. Tarantino kind of does that same.
Yeah, they are very similar.
Pulpy fucking B-movie fucking 70s fucking grindhouse throwback. So that's what it is, because those movies were kind of like that.
They were, yeah.
So it is what it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's part of that genre. That tone that he's going for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, and I get that. It's just, like I said, I just don't think it was as successful this time around as it was the other two
it's real
times.
Hard to follow up fucking Devil's Rejects.
Especially after this much time.
Yeah, with those actors and stuff, with that fucking team, and with that same story.
Yeah.
Trying to continue it after they got shot up to pieces and shit. And then they go on the run, and
it's almost just
Mexico.
kind of like a hangout movie.
Yeah, they're not really. It's not as really compelling as as it was. I'd rather have him go back and tell us about Dr. Satan.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's going to be something along the lines of Frankenstein's Army. That's how I'd expect it. Remember that movie Frankenstein's Army?
I loved Frankenstein.
I kind of picture Dr. Satan being something kind of like Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein from Frankenstein's Army.
See, that would be kick-ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, I'll give this another go at some point and, watch some of his other new ones and see how I feel about him and stuff.
Gotta see the Salem one.
Yeah, but it's a lot of people seem to like that one just because that seemed like a little bit of a different direction than these ones were.
Right.
But like I said, I liked some of Rob Zombie's other movies, other than, like I said, the Halloween remake, which I did not like. I think he made a sequel to that, and I didn't even bother seeing it because I hated the first one so much. But you know what I mean? I just didn't like I said, I didn't like. Don't show Michael Myers as like a little abused kid and all of a sudden it's like I don't like demystifying villains like that, especially slasher villains. I just think that's like a dumb thing to do. It undercuts their menace. But yeah, so this one, it seems like it's gotten kind of mixed reviews. Like some people really liked it, some people thought it was the worst movie ever made. You know what I mean?
Worst movie ever made. Come on.
Well, maybe like the worst movie of this past year or whatever.
Right.
But if you've seen the first two, if you like the first two, then check it out and see how you feel about it. I think it was, probably unnecessary, but it had some good shit in it too.
It's the worst out of the three.
Well, easily,
definitely, yeah.
So,
but it's not a bad movie.
But it's not terrible. And like I said, I'll probably give it another sit through and see how I feel about it after I've seen it a second time.